Sometimes I'll hear from people, they'll say, Frankie, you fucking idiot, you think you can fix this? I'm like, yes, I do. As a matter of fact, here's how I would fix it. I would more or less turn away entirely from everything that's come before. I wouldn't deny its existence. I just would stop. I would just sever ties with basically everything except for Spider-Man. And, you know, they have Doctor Strange wants to pop up, you know, whatever, but they ought to be pretty big characters if they're going to pop up at all. And I would just do the X-Men. Just do the X-Men straight. Like, I'd figure out some creative way. Yeah, I probably would kick it off with Fantastic Four. Marvel's Fantastic Four. And then I would do an X-Men movie that had no Wolverine. You would have to introduce the idea that bigotry has been on the rise ever since the Sokovian Accords. And that it's been observed that there are these strange mutations occurring in people, some as adults, some born with it. And no one really knows why. There's theories. Maybe, it's from the presence of cosmic beings on Earth. Maybe it's from the blip, 5 years, half of existence wasn't there, but human DNA is changing. And now more people have strange abilities than ever, and nobody can trust each other. And so you and that's the start of your mutants and your X-Men stories.
Get that lousy mutant! Show him! Please, don't hurt me. I'm just an ordinary mutant. I don't have any special powers. I just look different. No more mutants!
So in other words, you basically you start the MCU thing over again, starting with mutants and with the Fantastic Four. And then 3 or 4 movies in, you have Wolverine is introduced chasing Mark Ruffalo's Hulk for an entire movie. And then you can basically have an event. You wouldn't call it Avengers anymore. The Avengers wouldn't be your event movie anymore. It would now be like X-Men meet Spider-Man is your event movie, or X-Men meet the Fantastic Four, something like that, some comic book event movie. And now that's the new version of Avengers. That's the end of your new phase 1. You could call it phase 1. You're starting over. And eventually 5, 6, 7 years later, Captain America comes back into it, and you build like the ultimate, and you call it Marvel Ultimates or something, and you combine the whole thing. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think you should slow down all this stuff. Make only a couple projects a year, and focus on the X-Men, focus on the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. You concluded all your other stories. You concluded them. You concluded Guardians. I don't need to see Rocket anymore, right? I don't need to. I love him. I don't need to see him anymore. I don't need to see Chris Pratt anymore. It's over. You start something new. You do a new thing, and there's fertile fucking ground. You don't have to scrape. A lot of people are like, well, what do you do after Endgame? Like, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. I mean, come on, man.
Literally, the most famous Marvel brands. You do that, and you have that. You have the X-Men, and you have it.
Yeah,
I know Spider-Man. You're borrowing him, and he's sometimes here, sometimes not. But you have the X-Men.
You have the X-Men,
them.
And Spider-Man. They're probably going to go off and make some Spider-Man, Venom, Miles Morales movies, right? Let them. Great, build it. Be consultants on it, and then let's do some big business and cross them over, right? They don't have to cross over every day. It'll be once every 5 years so that we can make some big money, No, am I so arrogant to suggest something so obvious? This seems clear to me. And why you would prioritize, the Eternals over this, or the Marvels. They're like, well, we got to slow down on the X-Men, folks. We got to make the Marvels first. I truly don't understand. It can't be market research. I think that's pretty.
I don't. Well, I can see them being kind of deluded into thinking like, oh, well, Captain Marvel did well, so we should make a sequel.
If you must, the Captain Marvel sequel should be something like Captain Marvel and the Age of the Mutants, or the Mutant Age, or something. Like the whole, like the sell to audiences is, come see the new Captain Marvel movie. We're going to introduce the X-Men in it.
Yeah, I think it should just be the X-Men. I think it should start from basically scratch. Basically ignore most things, but and do its own story. And then you can, like you said, introduce elements. That's a great idea.
We can have Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse, and and build the X-Men universe, like, and if you must have Disney Plus content, there's Disney Plus content to be made out of that stuff. Make some specials or make some limited run series about profiling a particular X-Men, or maybe do the James Gunn thing where you're like, there's a little animated thing that kind of will color in some of it.
Yeah, and actually, I didn't mind What If. I think What If is a great idea, and you could expand upon that. So
it seems like they're keen to use that theme.
Oh yeah.
So play into it. That's a good brand, I think that's the play. Do whatever the fuck you want, though, people. Reboot Daredevil, to diminishing returns. Make Echo as a top priority. I understand. I don't get it.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.